Ah, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. One moment. This is going to be a long one, so bear with me here. So, we've come at last to Skald Stories, Chaotic Evil. Everyone's favorite alignment. Now, normally, hold on. Normally, when people think of the Chaotic Evil alignment, they think of like the Joker. But come on, that's too easy. That's too easy of a comparison. And I want people that have like never heard of the Joker to understand how the alignment works outside of that. One moment. I just woke up, so I got shit in my throat. I had to take care of it. So, anyway, the reason why I don't necessarily like the Joker as a example, as like the example for chaotic evil, is because chaotic evil has a lot of flavors to it. Now, normally it's the alignment that's seen for the insane, for the batshit crazy, for the people that have no moral compass, the psychopaths, essentially. But there's more to it than that. There are functioning psychopaths out there. You'd never know it. You could walk right past one and you'd have no clue. The Joker doesn't exactly have that. So he's a very open chaotic evil. I want to do someone that's a tiny bit more subtle, but not to the point where he's basically restraining himself. And so I present to you my choice to represent the chaotic evil alignment in my little mini series. Simon Phoenix. Oh, I've been waiting for this one. It didn't take me very long to pick Simon. I'll tell you that much. Demolition Man is one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love this movie. So if you get a chance, check it out. But essentially, the story of Demolition Man goes: a cop tracks down a criminal, Simon, and in his attempt to capture Simon, a bunch of people die. So the cop is also sentenced to prison, but this is a type of utopian future kind of prison, where instead of bars and cages, you're frozen, and then they're released into the future. Well, Simon breaks out, so in order to catch him, they unthaw the cop that he was the rival of for so many years to track him down. That's a spoilery description, but it's the main description, so I don't exactly know how to get past all that. So Simon here is the main villain, and he represents chaotic evil because he has no moral compass whatsoever. He has none. And if he does, he willingly chooses to ignore it, which I believe is the reality. He knows right and wrong. He just, fuck you, I don't care. I don't give a shit. He doesn't lack a moral compass, I should say. He disregards his moral compass because he doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't have one. He does have one. You'll see that in some of the examples I have. I have a lot of examples because, unlike Ivan Ooze, Simon is in this movie quite a lot, and I do have a lot to talk about with him. So, why does Simon fit the chaotic evil alignment? Well, first off, what is chaotic evil? Chaotic evil is someone who has no morality, or ignores their morality, or is so far gone that there's no redemption for them. In Dungeons and Dragons, the chaotic evil alignment is represented by demons. And the difference between, say, a demon and a devil, who is the lawful evil, is one will try to convince you to give them something, and the other one will just take it. It's that simple. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how. If they want it, they're taking it. But to me, that's a little bit too brutish of a description for what a chaotic evil person is capable of. The number one thing to play chaotic evil characters, they're difficult to handle in groups unless the rest of the group is also neutral to chaotic evil, because they don't want to cooperate. Their only interest is in number one or none at all. They might not even care for their own safety. So why would they give a shit about the safety of others? But if you really want to play a chaotic evil player, you have to have an ambition to be in charge or to just cause mayhem and destruction. Yes, Felix, I hear you. So why does Simon Phoenix fit that bill? I'm not doing a very good job describing things. I just woke up and it's been a while, so hopefully you get my point as we go along. So, our story begins. Simon is inside of a warehouse. He is holed up, his little drug ring. Oh, by the way, major spoilers. Do I really need to say it at this point? Anyway, so Simon's held up in this big ass warehouse, and a busload of passengers, basically a city bus, drives their way past, and he takes them hostage. And he's got his gang here, he's got his big drug ring, whatever. So essentially what happens was, um, the police get wind of it. They find out that he's got like 20 to 30 hostages, all locked up. So they send in Detective John Spartan to track him down, which is basically his rival. They've been at it for, at this point in the story, 2 years. They've been at it for 2 years. Regular old cat and mouse. So, Simon, once Spartan gets past all of his goons and his guards and gets to the big bad area, the first thing Simon does is he sees that Spartan is coming. So he's like, okay, fine, whatever. And what he does is he stabs a bunch of gas canisters with a knife. A bunch of gas barrels. Gasoline all over the place. So already we're delving into the chaotic evil alignment of they lack a sense of self. He probably has no intention of escaping with that. He's filling up the very room he is standing in with gasoline. So he has no sense of preservation for his own life. That's the first trigger. Chaotic evil people don't give a shit. Do they want to live? Yes. But if they feel their time is coming, they have no problem throwing it away. Like, without even a hesitation. But there's other stuff that he does that trigger the alignment. So Spartan gets up there, and he gets up there. Sorry, I just woke up. Spartan gets up there and he confronts Simon. And the first thing Simon does is he's snorting cocaine. Sorry, YouTube, if you don't like that. But he's snorting cocaine. So immediately, not only is he standing in a room full of gas and fumes, he also just did like a line of coke before his like ultimate rival just entered the room. Seriously? Like, imagine if Goku and Vegeta were going at it, and then as Goku showed up, Vegeta was like, "What's up, Kakarot?" See? Doesn't make sense. One moment. Got all kinds of shit in my throat. One moment. There we go. Okay. Ugh. Anyway, so Simon laughs at him. Ha ha ha. Hey, Spartan, how's it going? And Spartan's like, dude, where are the hostages? Seriously, where are the hostages? And Simon's like, hey, I told people not to come down here. The policeman figured it out. The postman figured it out. But the goddamn bus drivers just wouldn't listen. He says it just like that. I'm going to try to do my best Simon Phoenix throughout this video. So, he tells Spartan, yeah, set your ass in gasoline. He walks over. He turns on like a blowtorch. And as Spartan raises his gun at him, Simon gets down and puts the torch like right above the gasoline. Like, I'm talking to the point where the fumes should have caught. It's like a couple inches from the top of the floor. It should have gone. So of course, Spartan, yes, Felix. So of course, Spartan lowers his gun and Simon's like, set your ass on fire. Anyway, dude, Wesley Snipes nails this role. I'm sorry. But he takes the blowtorch, lights a cigarette. Spartan raises his gun back up. And he says the iconic line, is it cold in here? Or is it just me? And he flicks his cigarette and it ignites all the gasoline. So already, he has sacrificed himself and everyone else in this building. Spartan, the hostages, any potential gang members he might have in here still, and himself. Spartan's got him at gunpoint. So he just says, oh, fuck it. And he throws a cigarette. But the thing is he doesn't run away. He stands and laughs. I had a picture of it. I swear I had a picture of that sucker in here somewhere, but whatever. So anyway, Spartan goes and tackles him. They do the little fisticuffs brawl. And Simon's not exactly a fighter. He's just a common criminal. He's coked out of his mind. He's been inhaling gas fumes this entire time, so he's not exactly in prime fighting condition. So as the fire is burning, Spartan keeps asking him, where are the hostages? Where are the hostages? And Simon's like, I swear, I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. Now, where'd I put him? Keep that in mind, also. There's a callback way later in the movie for that one. I'm sure you could figure out what it is. But he beats the shit out of him. And the entire fight, Phoenix is taunting him. Joker style. He's getting his ass kicked, but he's laughing at him. He's taunting him. He's getting a few punches, but not much. So what Spartan does is he drags him out. He carries him. And he arrests him outside. And this entire time, he's been taunting him about the hostages. So as he's getting arrested outside, the police commissioner or the chief or whoever, I think it's the chief. The chief shows up and he says, you were not supposed to blow things up. You're supposed to wait for my orders. You weren't supposed to go in, you know, the standard 90s hero cop shtick. You're supposed to do what I say. You're a rebel cop. Blah. Whatever. So, he goes in there, does that. And Simon, of course, is laughing his ass off the whole time. Because when Spartan says he must have stashed him someplace else. I did a thermo scan of the building, and there was only 8 of them. All part of his gang. There were no other bodies in that building. And Simon says, wrong again, and he laughs at him. And of course, Spartan's like, you got something to say to me, scumbag? And Simon's just laughing at him. Well, then a fireman comes up. A fireman comes up and he says to Spartan and the chief, dude, there's bodies everywhere. There must be 20 or 30 of them. They're everywhere. And Spartan's got this look on his face like, you gotta be shitting me. all of the hostages died in the explosion. So, because Spartan disobeyed orders and went ahead with it ahead of time, he said he did a thermal scan. So he checked the body heat of everyone in the area, and it only showed 8 people, which were Simon's gang and then Simon himself. No other people came up on the thermal scan. And to Spartan, that was enough of a confirmation. But the thing is they helicoptered him onto the building and he went straight for Phoenix. He didn't take out the gang and then go looking for the hostages. The hostages weren't his number one priority. His number one priority was to get to Phoenix and find out where he stashed the hostages. That was his theory. But it turns out his theory was incorrect, because they found a shit ton of bodies in the aftermath of the explosion because of all the gasoline on fire. And Simon taunts him and says, "You sacrificed all those people to come after little old me? I told him, Chief. He said he didn't care." So he's rubbing it in his face. He's mocking him. Oh my God, you sacrificed all those innocent people. Because Simon knows he's cooked. Simon knows he's done. So he's getting in some laughs, because he's taking his rival down with him. And of course, Spartan just goes absolutely ballistic, and it takes 3 guys to hold him back. And Simon gives him a little wink and a kissy face and says, "You and I are going to be spending a lot of quality time together. See you later, sweetie, honey, sugar." Because he knows he's going to prison. So, like I said before, in this movie, the prisons are not cages. There's no interaction. There's no feeding them. You're literally frozen in a block of ice until they decide to let you out. So, getting back to alignments, what have you learned about Simon so far? He has no regard for his own life and others' lives. He's cunning. He found some way to trick Spartan's thermal detector, and now he's taunting him with it to bring him down with him. Like, yeah, you failed, I beat you, now you're going down with me. A chaotic evil person has no remorse for anyone or anything, usually not even themselves. Simon isn't exactly a genius planner like maybe the Joker is, but then again, he's not going up against Batman, so he doesn't have to have that same level of preparedness. I mean, he was totally willing to go down. Joker, in order to keep doing his thing and keep reigning chaos, he has to be a step ahead of Batman. So he has to look out for his preservation of life. Simon doesn't give a shit. That's one trick that makes a chaotic evil player very difficult to play, because if you disregard yourself and your party, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get them killed. And that'll end up in a party wipe in your game. But at the same time, it also means that you don't have that restriction of being held back by anybody. You'd be willing to throw a princess off a bridge if it meant you could get one step closer to that big treasure hoard in the castle or something. Chaotic evil characters are willing to throw away anything and everything to achieve their goal, even if that goal changes. Simon's goal, I don't know what it was before, but after this, it was to avoid capture. Once he was captured, then his goal shifted to bringing down Spartan. And doing all of this, blowing up a building and killing over 40 people, achieved that goal. All to see Spartan go down. So, we fast forward. How many years? How many years? Um, If I recall correctly, the year in the future is 2032. 2032. So already we're getting close to that number. So that's not very assuring. But anyway, so what happens is I think it's like 10 or 12 years into the future, something like that. Originally, Spartan was supposed to be released in like 2046. And here we see the effects of the cryo prison, as it's called. You see up top, you see that big row of ice blocks, and then you see Simon right here in this opening shot. They just pass right by him. They don't acknowledge him. I caught this. I had to catch this shot. But there he is. So he's getting processed. He's already locked away. And after this shot, they're basically establishing the world in the future. This is Los Angeles. I want to say the movie took place in 1996, and now it jumps to 2032. 2032. So, I believe the time for Simon's parole hearing is coming up. Why? Yes, he was a massive criminal, but the thing is, in this very peaceful utopian future, everybody gets a second chance. The future in this movie has gotten to a point where everyone is extremely, extremely peaceful, to the point where it's detrimental to them. For example, Simon Phoenix is getting parole. You'll see why that's a bad idea in a little bit. In a little while. It'll go through his rap sheet. So he gets his parole hearing, and they wake him up from his cryo prison instatement. And he's got this look on his face, this cold, dead stare. It's awkward. He's not like sedated or anything. They literally unthaw him and wake him up for his parole hearing. Now there is a reason why he's being woken up, but as far as the wardens and stuff go, nobody questions it. They just say, "Oh, it's time for his parole hearing." But you'll see later down the line why he was released. So, the warden gives his hearing, and he's basically going over Simon Phoenix, you're here for the cause of blah 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 until the time of blah 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 for blah blah blah. And everything the warden says, Simon is repeating back to him in Spanish. He literally is repeating back everything he is saying word for word to him in Spanish, until eventually the warden yells, "Stop it!" And Simon gives him this grin. So, Simon, knowing his situation, is still taunting and making fun of people. He's still getting under people's skins for seemingly no reason other than just to get a rise out of them. He's literally locked in his chair, 2 security guards behind him, and he's still agitating somebody for no reason other than the love of the game. That's another trait of the chaotic evil character. They don't stop, especially if they have no reason to. If they want something, they're going to get it. If it's to make you mad, they'll make you mad. If it's to rob something, they'll rob something. Most people think that chaotic evil means if you want something, go for it. Yes, that's true, but not to the point where it's stupid. You don't just walk up and steal an apple willy-nilly and then kill anybody that tries to stop you. No, 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 no. You gotta do it subtly. And you'll see some examples of that also in this video. So, after he's done taunting him, the warden says, "Do you have anything to say on your behalf?" And Simon just kind of turns his head like this. And the warden gives him a smug, "I thought not." And Simon turns to him quickly and says, "Yeah, I do." Teddy bear. And the clamps to the chair open. His leg and arm clamps all open. Teddy bear was the unlocking password. So he gets up and he starts beating the shit out of the guards. And even one of the guards even says, "How do you know the password to the cuffs?" And Simon says, "I wish I knew." And then beats him up. So Simon, something has happened to Simon. Something has happened to him. Now he's able to take on two guards at once easily, which, to be fair, in this year, in this world setting, they're extremely peaceful, so they probably couldn't have fought him off anyway. But he has knowledge that he should not have, and he has no idea where that knowledge came from. And he doesn't care. He says, "Well, I wish I knew," and then he continues to beat up the officer. Here's another trait of the chaotic evil alignment: their disregard for anything that's beneficial. So, if something benefits the chaotic evil character, they don't give a shit where it came from. They don't give a shit what it does. They don't care how they got it. All they care about is that they have it, and they're going to use it. Simon instinctively knew the password to the handcuffs, and he could have unlocked himself at any time. But he decided to toy and taunt the warden during his parole hearing. He could have broken out. He could have done this immediately as he got out. But he decided to lay there and toy with the warden a little bit, just for fun. That's chaotic evil. A neutral evil character or a lawful evil character wouldn't have bothered breaking out at the parole hearing. I mean, maybe they would have. But in my opinion, they would have gone a little more subtly about it. They would have avoided gaining attention to themselves. They would have snuck out. Or they would have talked their way out. Simon fights his way out. He brute forces his way through. So, a lawful or neutral character may have either snuck their way out or sneak attacked their way out through ambushes and assassination attempts. No, Simon literally punches his way out the door. Let's see. He takes down 5 people, if I recall correctly. He takes down these 2 guards, the warden. I think he takes down another 2 guards in a garage, and then he takes down another scientist to steal his car. So 6 people, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's 6 people. Okay. So yeah, he just busts his way through. They got him on camera and everything. So, how does he break out, though? Well, the security protocols for the prison are retinal scans. Sorry if you hear my fan in the background. It's really hot in here. So, what happens with Simon? The prison is navigated through retinal scans. So Simon takes one of the doctor's pens, and he extracts the key. Now, there is a shot of Simon using the key on the doors, and then he'll lift up the pen, and the computer on the system, as the door is unlocking, will say, "Welcome, Warden William Smithers. Be well." You know, they instead of saying, "Have a good day," they say, "Be well." And Simon holds up the pen with the extracted organ on the end of it. And he says, "Yeah, you too." I mean, you do what you have to. He could have easily drugged the whole body, but he decided, nah, let's Let's just take this and let's get going. But here's the thing. How did Simon know that? Again, Simon has prior knowledge of this facility from an unknown origin. He knows that the facility is controlled through retinal scans. So the first thing he does is he takes the warden's eye. And he heads immediately for the parking garage. Now, fast forward a bit, and the security system has sounded to the police department. And the police department... I'm sorry. The police department in this movie are a bunch of fucking pussies. They are awful. They are awful. Absolutely awful. They want to solve everything with peaceful means, no matter the circumstances. Like, they don't even have guns anymore. They carry what's called glow sticks. It's basically a big stun baton. It's a big stun gun on a stick. So, when they find out what Simon has done, they're absolutely mortified. Like, okay, one of the cops, they're seeing live footage. Once the alarm sounds, they access the camera footage of the prison, and they see Warden Smithers crawling on the ground, groaning. And then as he slumps over dead, one of the cops starts puking. Like, come on. The cops in this movie are absolutely awful. They're absolutely awful. They have no balls. So, when they pull up Simon Phoenix's arrest record, well, they find this. Now, I screenshot this, but this thing is scrolling on the screen. This is just one frame. It continues to scroll and goes through all kinds of things. It even shows the dates and the years that these crimes took place in. And at this point, it just shows 85 to 86. This sucker goes all the way to like 1996. I think. I don't remember. But anyway, basically Simon's arrest detail is like crazy. And everyone's like, who in the hell is this guy? And one of the cops says, it's Phoenix. Simon Phoenix. Because this older cop was there when Spartan went to take him down. He's the guy in the helicopter that dropped off Spartan at the warehouse the night that happened. The night that big hostage explosion happened. So he tells everybody the absolute nightmare that Simon Phoenix is. And they're like, okay, what's Simon Phoenix's code? Because in this future, they implant a chip into the back of your hand that has a code. It's basically like your ID card, and you scan it across things for like opening security doors or paying for your groceries, things like that. Phoenix, because he was one of the earliest people to be used in the cryo prison system, he doesn't have a card. He doesn't have a scan. And that's one of the reasons he was the one that was picked to escape. Oh, yeah. Starting to get it now? Yep. So, they start going through the rap sheet of Simon. And they say, okay, let's find this guy. And they find out that he's using a security terminal in a local park. And they find out that he stole this specific scientist's car and he's driving it down this way. So they basically just track the car. So he gets out of the car, and of course you can see that he is not dressed for the occasion. So this is another trait of the chaotic evil character. They don't give a shit about things like subterfuge. or obfuscation. He's just walking around in his regular clothes that he had when he was arrested. I mean, he doesn't have his jacket, but I believe these are the same suspenders and shirt he had when he was arrested by Spartan all those years ago. You'd think it'd be a lot easier to get around dressed up. I mean, this is a future where you obviously don't belong. This is a timeline where you don't belong. So you're a wanted fugitive. You'd think you'd want to be incognito. He doesn't. He doesn't care. He doesn't give two shits. Again, another trait of the chaotic evil alignment is to disregard things like that. Anything that would be deemed as smart, quote unquote, they toss away. Not because they're dumb, but because they don't care. They don't see a reason. They don't see a... He's like, well, if anyone comes for me, I'll just kick their ass. Simple as that. That's his line of thinking. Chaotic evil characters for this aren't stupid, they're just simple. They're very straightforward. They don't see all the zigzags and hurdles that a lawful neutral or a lawful evil and neutral evil characters would see. They see a straight line. So, he comes here, and this guy is talking to a machine as if it's a therapist. He says to it, I just don't feel like there's anything special about me. So he's... Jeez, okay. I mean, whatever gets you, whatever helps you, dude. Whatever helps you. But anyway, Simon grabs this dude and just shoves him away. He just grabs him, pulls him away. Broad daylight, everyone's watching. Doesn't care. Disregards entirely. So he accesses the computer, and he's like searching through databases, through all kinds of things, looking for names. He's navigating firewalls. And he says, damn, I'm possessed. I wonder if I can play the accordion too. Again, he has knowledge that he should not have. He knows this, and he doesn't care. Why? Because it's giving him a significant advantage. He disregards any type of safety concerns or any mystery behind where it came from, why you have it, who gave it to you. He doesn't give a shit. All he sees is, hey, I can do stuff I couldn't do before, and it's awesome. That's it. That's all they care about. Chaotic evil people, if you give them a weapon, they don't care that it's volatile. This thing could blow up in their face. They'll find a way to use it. They won't put it down and say, no, this thing's a little too dangerous. They'll say, oh, sweet, I'll like, do something with it. I'll figure something out. Cool. They don't care. A gift is a gift to them. So, as he's working on this computer, the police show up. And as they're driving by, they all stop. I think there's like... oh, wait a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. So the first thing Simon Phoenix searches for is, of course, the location of guns, which don't exist in this world, in this future. So he finds out that they're at a museum. Historical, of course. And he also looks up the name of a guy named Edgar Friendly. And he hears a voice in his head that says, don't you have a job to do? Don't you have someone to kill? A little name repeating in that pathetic brain of yours? The name Friendly. Mr. Edgar Friendly. And he keeps seeing visions of this guy's face. And it says murder, death, kill, over and over again in his brain. And then he kind of snaps out of it and looks for guns. So we can tell that he has been brainwashed by someone. And it's safe to assume that that someone is who gave him all of these abilities. It gave him the passcode to the handcuffs. It gave him the security details of the prison. It gave him the computer access codes or whatever he's using to get through this stuff. And this person brainwashed him to kill another person. They broke out Phoenix, essentially. Gave him a bunch of advantages and in exchange, they want him to kill a guy. So now the police show up, and the first thing Simon does is he notices that the cops are trying to surround him. He looks around, he notices, hey, there's like 6 or 7 cops, right on. Yep, okay. So here's where we see a taste of what Simon's actually capable of at this point. Because when the cops show up, they've never dealt with a criminal this violent before. Hold on one second. They've never dealt with a cop this violent, or a criminal this violent before. So the first cop comes up, the one in charge of the squad leader, let's say, and he holds up a little computer, a little pocket computer, and he says, maniac is imminent, request advice. He's asking an AI, hey, I don't know how to deal with these psychopaths. What do I do? And the computer tells him, tell the maniac to lie on the ground with his hands behind his back. So the cop says that. Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands behind your back. And Simon turns around and says, ooh, 6 of you. Such nice, tidy uniforms. Oh, I'm so scared. So, it's safe to assume by his jabs that Simon has prior knowledge of not only the police details, but also of their training and mannerisms. He probably knows that the cops are a bunch of pussies that don't have guns. So he's openly taunting them, and then he turns his back to them. He doesn't care. He literally doesn't see them as a threat in the slightest. Absolutely not. So he turns his back to them and continues on with his work. Disregard for safety, definite disregard for authority, is another chaotic evil trait. I don't give 2 shits about any of you. Go away. And then he returns to his work. They don't try to hide. They don't try to talk their way through the situation. They literally say, piss off. I'm going to go do me again. So, the cop yells back to him. He says to the computer, the maniac responded with a scornful remark. Haha. And the computer tells him, in a firmer tone of voice, repeat the statement and then add or else at the end. Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands behind your back or else. And then Simon Phoenix looks back at him and he gives him this face. He did the face that I used earlier. He gives him this face. So now he's pissed off. So he looks behind and he sees a 7th cop behind a wall sneaking up on him. Simon realizes what's going on and he uses his computer knowledge skills to hack into the anti-graffiti system. Now, graffiti gets put on these walls from an unknown source. And these little electro tubes shoot out to vaporize the paint. So what Simon does is he sees this guy sneaking up behind this wall. He bypasses the security lock to electrocute this guy. And of course, all the cops at the station watching through the camera systems are just fucking horrified. They're just horrified. So now, Simon takes on the police. And he's busting out martial arts moves. Sorry for the blurriness. I took these screenshots while watching the movie. So, he's taking out these cops very easily. Very easily. He has martial arts skills that he didn't possess before. So now, he's been given fighting capabilities as well, as part of his brainwashed programming. And he's just annihilating these 6 cops. He has no idea where it came from, no idea how good he is, but he's embracing it. He's embracing it to the point where he's having fun. He'll like spin a cop around his back and he'll shout, "Ole!" like he just did the bullfighting thing. A couple cops try to escape through a car and he says, "Yo, wait for me!" and he literally jumps and stomps through a car windshield. It doesn't crack, it shatters. So either this car windshield is made of paper mache or something really fragile, or his strength has also been enhanced. He slams his foot and shatters this glass. All he shouts is, "Hey, wait for me!" So again, he's being very tauntive, very aggressive because of his new programming, let's say. And one moment. Sorry, I had to sneeze. So, as he's doing that, he defeats all the cops. He takes one of their stun batons and he walks over to the computer terminal and he pulls out the camera. Now he knows they're watching him. He takes the camera and he looks into it and he says, "Simon says, everybody stand." And he screams into the camera, forcing a sound feedback screech that causes everybody to kind of recoil. And he sings the baseball song, "In the home of the brave." You know, he sings it really badly on purpose. And then he takes the stun baton and he shocks the camera, sending a feedback loop to the police station. It fries the visual feed and it causes a huge screeching effect through the audio system. So the knowledge he has keeps piling up. This tactic, he wiped out every camera within 6 blocks of this location by doing this stunt, with just their stun baton. Now, this all seems well and good, but here's where one of the chaotic evil points comes up. He's not done. He takes that stun baton and he literally sticks it into the car's battery core, igniting the gel inside, and the car blows up. This accomplished nothing. I don't know if this was a car that the cops were inside, and he just took out a couple dudes really spectacularly, or if he's doing it just for the love of the game. I'll let you be the one to figure that out. But he spent time to do this, rather than escaping. He just fought off 6 of them, took out a 7th, and now he's blowing up a car for reasons. So, he's doing this just for fun. It's either that or he's sending them a message. Because now he has knowledge of how this works too. The knowledge and weaponry he has keeps stacking up. So, what happens next? The cops realize they're in over their head. So they wake up Spartan and tell him to go after him. Yeah, Simon's done this, this, and this. We need to take him down. And for the next scene, we don't see Simon for a while. It's usually just Spartan getting used to how things work in this world. So the next scene we see Simon, he finds the museum where all the guns are located. It's a historical museum. And again, he's not in hiding. He's not trying to blend in. This guy is being watched throughout the whole city on camera systems all over the place. They could be watching him from start to finish, and he couldn't give 2 shits less. And yet here he is, walking through a museum, no problem. Disregard. Disregard for all that stuff. Now, let's say, for example, you're in a D&D campaign and you're approaching the king. Let's say your goal is to kidnap the princess. Now, how does a chaotic evil person solve this problem? You have an audience with the king. Your objective is to kidnap the princess. And your first thought is, I'm going to walk into the main castle chamber bare naked. Why? Chaotic evil. Now, I don't like this thought process of what people think chaotic evil means. This is not what chaotic evil means. That is a person that's too far gone to function. That is not a character. If you want to play a chaotic evil character, you have to do things along those same lines, but you have to remember to keep it functional. Otherwise, there's no direction, there's no story, there's no conflict. It's just meaningless noise. Now, the reason I'm comparing that to this is because Simon could do all kinds of things. He could murder his way through this crowd if he wanted to. But he's not. He's gently walking through. But he's also not hiding himself. A chaotic evil person that a lot of people assume is someone that's just batshit insane. Someone that does all kinds of things with no regard for the rules, with no regard for their sense of self. And to me, that's a very wrong way to play the alignment. They disregard, say, the objective. Oh, I'm not going to bother kidnapping the princess. I want to burn the king alive with this match I found. I'm going to walk into the kingdom butt naked and try to do that. That is a very toxic player thing to do, and you should feel very bad about yourself, and I don't ever want you at my table. But at the same time, where am I going with this? So doing that is not the way to do chaotic evil. Chaotic evil is much more open about their evil intentions, but they're not advertising it. That's the problem. They're not advertising it. Simon here isn't advertising that he's a psychopath. He just doesn't give a shit what he's dressed as and what people think. He's dressing like this because it's comfortable. He's dressing like this because he likes it. That's it. His goal is the same. Guns. His first objective, first and foremost, is to get guns. So, where did he find them? At a museum. So he goes to a museum. Straightforward. This is a functioning chaotic evil character. Someone that has the same traits, but still works within the system. You'll see what I'm talking about as we go further on. So he goes in, and he passes by the Hall of Violence. Because of course he does. And he takes a quick whiff of the air. Home sweet home. Where it's just Los Angeles covered in graffiti, bullet casings, and fire. That's his element. He revels in that chaos. Wait a minute. Oh, never mind. Nothing. Wait. I see that symbol on his suspenders. Ba-ba! They've got the same symbol on them. Huh, so maybe those aren't his clothes. Wait, who the hell has suspenders? You know what? Never mind. So this is even worse. Now he's wearing prison getup. I don't know. Anyway, it's defeating from my purpose. So he gets here, blah blah blah. And this is one of the funniest scenes in the whole goddamn movie. He's walking along, and he enters the Hall of Violence. See, this is the part that shows a functioning chaotic evil character. This is what I was talking about. He takes this guy and he just shoves his head into the glass. Like, okay, this guy's just standing here minding his own business. This is a security guard. So I don't know if this was a tactic on Phoenix's part or if he's just doing it because he's funny. But he walks up behind this guy, takes like 2 steps, shoves his head as hard as possible into the glass. And he holds his hands up and says, "Oh, so sorry, I didn't see you there." Every time I see this scene, I laugh my ass off because one, it comes out of nowhere. Simon, Simon, the shot literally begins with Simon standing behind this guy, and Simon takes 2 steps and then wham, knocks the guy out cold. It's a hilarious scene. It's absolutely hilarious. I love it. And then he taunts the guy. See, he had no reason to do this. He knows that the local police force can't take him on. So do you think a bunch of museum security guards are going to do anything? So what was the point of this? See, a regular, normally functioning human being would think, okay, he took out the security, so he has privacy. It also caused a commotion, which will cause all the people in this room to evacuate. And that way, it'll leave him alone with all of the firearms. Okay, that's fair. But at the same time, he could kill all these people. There's nothing they can do about it. He could take on police force. You think a private security in this building is going to give a shit? No. He did this for the love of the game. And I love it. This is what chaotic evil is right here. Not only did he not have to do this, but he did it anyway. It served no tangible purpose. However, it did bring a bunch of negatives. It brought attention to him, which is more than what his clothes are doing. So he's willingly bringing eyes upon him. Sure, the patrons may have left the room, but obviously they might have reported him, and it would cause more people to come this way. So it's a double-edged sword. If he wanted them to leave the room, he probably could have thought of any other reason to do it. But now he's bringing more attention on himself, which is something a person in hiding obviously doesn't want. So why did he do this? Well, because he thought it was funny. And that's all a chaotic evil person needs. That's the only motivation they need. So, after the people clear out, he finds the guns behind a wall. And instead of trying to be subtle about it, again, he just starts wailing on the wall, on the glass doors. He just starts kicking them and punching them, shouting and screaming, to the point where it calls over another guard. He's not being subtle. He's not being sneaky. He wants the guns, so he's going to try to get them. Chaotic evil are extremely straightforward. A to B. They don't care about what happens in the middle. They don't care how they get there. They don't care what kind of gifts give them an advantage. They don't care what kind of actions give them a disadvantage. If they can safely do what they want to do, then they're going to do it. Simon knows the security detail in this museum can't stop him. They're too pussy. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to act. They don't know how to treat him as a threat. So he doesn't care. He's not going to try to be subtle. He has no reason to, and he doesn't want to. That's a chaotic evil character right there. Or maybe he's a little smarter than you think. Because this security guard comes over, and Simon looks at him and says, "How much do you weigh?" And he picks up the security guard and he throws him through the glass. Now, in the scene, it's presented as Simon having a sudden realization of, oh, hey, how much do you weigh? But at the same time, I think a little bit, that maybe he was purposefully drawing attention to get one of these guards to come over. Maybe he could have tortured them to open the case or something. And he figured, oh, shit, I could just toss him into the glass. Never mind. So who knows? Maybe he was doing the kicks on purpose. to draw attention. Because think about it. If the one security guard that he knocked out, if he didn't knock him out and he tried this with them, well, there'd be a bunch of other people in the room. And then the other security guard that walked in, now there'd be 2 security guards to deal with. By doing it this way, he took out both security guards, no problem. He took them both out in one shot. And he cleared the room. This is a functioning, chaotic, evil character. He has a plan. Even if it's outlandish. Maybe being outlandish is the point of that plan. Huh? Think about it. Well, we're also going to get further down the line of smart versus insane. Like with this next shot. Obviously, he needs more guns. So, Simon takes a shotgun and he blasts some more displays. Here's the problem. Guns and ammunition in this world is a finite resource. They're not selling them at your local Walmart. Okay? They're not doing that. These are museums. He has a limited number of ammunition, and he's wasting it shooting open glass displays. He could have easily just taken that dude's body and bashed every single display in. It would have been a little more work, but it would have saved him some precious ammunition. That's the problem here. See, this is Simon doing something stupid, in my opinion. He's going for a type of future, like, laser phaser gun, but he's also wasting ammunition to do it just because it's convenient. This is the moral scales, or metronome, I should say, of the chaotic evil character. Yeah, that's what I like to think it as. It's like a metronome. Goes back to smart, then goes over to stupid. Back to smart, over to stupid. That's what he's doing right here. He's wasting ammunition to get more guns, when this is probably the only place you're going to get ammunition from, and this is your only chance to get it. You think they're going to let you come anywhere near this museum afterwards? So yeah, dumb move on his part. So, he goes over to a computer terminal, and he asks the terminal, okay, how does this gun work? What's the story behind this gun? And two more guards show up to try to talk to him. And he 360 no-scopes them with a shotgun, with a pump-action shotgun. He doesn't even look at them. He doesn't even consider them a threat. He points his gun, blasts them, and continues talking to the computer. Doesn't look in their direction, doesn't talk to them, doesn't acknowledge them. Just lifts his arm, blam, back to conversation. Total disregard for the threat. He knows that they're not a threat. So he's not reacting to them like they're a threat. But, again, waste of ammo. Another shotgun shell taken out. He could have easily, like, broken their necks or something to save ammunition in a world where guns are no longer a thing. So, again, in my opinion, stupid move. But whatever. It's his thing. So, the security doors, yes, there are security doors, do lock down. And he says, ooh, sweet music to my ears, hearing the sirens. And he blows them open with a fucking cannon. Because, hey, it's his tool. It's their fault for putting a cannon with ammunition and gunpowder and everything you need to make it work. He literally blows the security door wide open. And then Detective Spartan, is it Detective? No. Yeah, Spartan shows up. So him and Spartan start having a throwdown. They do their thing. They're fighting back and forth. It's a big action gunfight. Nothing special happening. But Spartan doesn't exactly have the arsenal that Simon has right now. Simon just broke into a gun display with ammunition and all kinds of stuff. He's strapped. So Spartan does grab a double barrel shotgun and some shells, and of course, he uses that until those are up. But, one second. Sorry about that. So, Spartan does use up his ammunition and his guns, and Simon even uses the futuristic gun on him, but he grabs his stuff and runs away. He escapes. Why? Why not just shoot the guy? He has more guns, he has more ammunition, he has Spartan on the ropes, but he runs away. Why? I think it's just Hollywood bad writing. They just don't want the villain to succeed. Because he could easily just shoot Spartan right now and call it a day. By this point in the fight, Spartan is completely out of options. He is completely backed up to a wall. So, but Simon runs away. Whatever. Do with that what you will. So he escapes, and he comes out, and he immediately starts shooting at this guy. He just blam, blam, blam. And he says, shit, don't worry, I'll get you with the next shot. And he, it's like, why? Why did you just try to shoot this random person? He escapes the museum, and he just starts blasting. The reason is, he knows this guy. We don't know that he knows him, but during this scene, we figure out that he knows him. Now, to me, he started shooting this guy while his back was turned, so he didn't see his face as far as I'm aware. So he just started blasting this guy. But looking at it, he probably does know that this is Raymond. Raymond is like the mayor. He's the reason why the city is in this pussificated, ballless state that it's in. He's the reason everything is so peaceful and proper and ugh. He's the reason things are so utopic. He is also the reason why Simon has all of this programming. And we'll get into that later. But just know that Simon tried to kill this guy. Why? Because this guy is holding Simon's leash. Simon wanted him taken care of, but Simon missed. I think he missed like 2 or 3 shots. He missed them on purpose. Well, not on purpose, but he's programmed to not kill Raymond. We'll get into that more. So yes, Phoenix. Yes, Felix. So, Spartan shows up, drives him away, scene ends. Simon's not seen for a while. Later on, Simon finds a manhole cover that goes into the sewer systems. And he goes to hunt down this Edgar Friendly that Raymond wants dead so badly. So he goes down there, and then he disappears from the movie for a while. And he comes back, and he's waiting inside Raymond's office, and he's wearing this like new tire body armor, kind of a Mad Max style armor, down in the underground. And he sneaks into Raymond's office, and he reprograms the lights. So when you walk into a room, you just say lights, and the lights turn on. And Simon is sitting in the dark saying, nah, I've changed that. Illuminate, and the lights turn on. Deluminate, and the lights turn off. And he says, haha, isn't that much better? Go ahead, you try. So Raymond says, illuminate, turns the lights on. And Phoenix says, isn't that much nicer? And he says, Raymond, we gotta talk. I know secret routes to underground kingdoms. I know the sewer system. I know passcodes. I know the data. I know the interface of a database, and I don't even know what that shit means. And he's like, I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So he finds out that Raymond is the guy that programmed all of this information into his brain. Because he wants him to kill Edgar Friendly. Edgar Friendly is part of a resistance movement that rejects this way of life, this peaceful, utopic, you have to obey my rules or you're a scum of society kind of thing. So, Edgar Friendly he leads a bunch of people underground away from the utopic setting. It's your standard peaceful people versus apocalyptic people scenario. You know, the clean versus the dirty kind of thing. Raymond, although giving off an air of peaceful civility, broke Phoenix out of the cryo prison. He was uncoded, so he can't be tracked. And he reprogrammed him into a super soldier for the sole purpose of bringing down this resistance movement so his utopia can be perfect and flawless. And Phoenix is like, well, yeah, I can do your little dirty deed for you. But we got to talk about it. And clearly Phoenix has been underground. Based on this outfit, he has been to the rebel resistance movement or whatever. He's been to their location. So chances are he's already found Edgar. So why is he here? Why didn't he just kill Edgar and call it a day? Because Simon wants something. He's not just going to do it for free. Pfft, who the hell would do that? So, Phoenix hands him a list, and he says, it's going to be a little more difficult than I thought. I'm going to need the help of 5 or 6 more special men. And he hands Raymond a list of people he wants him to defrost from the cryo prison to help him out. So Raymond's like, okay, fine, I'll do that. Just do your job and kill Edgar. And Simon's like, what do I get out of all this? What's my payment for this? And Raymond says, what do you want? He says he wants Malibu, or all the coastal cities. He basically wants to start a drug empire, a criminal empire, let's say. He wants to restart the good old days. He wants an entire city. So Raymond's like, okay, haha, yeah, funny. Just do your job and kill the guy. And then Simon asks what Spartan's doing here and all that jazz and yada, yada, yada. So Raymond gives him a guarantee that I'll take care of Spartan, you take care of Edgar, don't worry about it. And Simon's like, okay, cool. Go get those men defrosted. So later, he talks to the guys that Raymond defrosted. All right. Sorry, it was too easy. So the next time we see Simon, he's down in the underground resistant movement's base. No one knows who he is because everybody looks the same. Everybody's dressed in this Mad Max kind of apocalyptic style. These are all the guys that he had defrosted, and he brought them down here and they're having like a gang meeting where he's talking about how the world is a pussified version of itself now. And how they're going to take over the city. He's already planning on defying Raymond. He got what he wanted from Raymond. He got all this programming, these weapons techniques, these martial arts, all this stuff. And now he tricked Raymond into releasing a bunch of other prisoners for him to lead a new militia. And he's like, if we could take over the cryo prison and release all of those locked up criminals, this city will be ours. So he's already planning on betraying Raymond. And betrayal is a very strong motivator for chaotic evil. They love turning on people because they use them. Simon used Raymond to get everything he wanted, and now he's going to turn on him. Oh, but Torbjorn, he tried to shoot at him and he missed. You said that he can't kill him. Don't you worry. That will come into play later. But for now, As they're having their meeting, they're looking down and they find Edgar and Spartan right there underneath them. And Simon's like, wow, I must have done something right in a past life. Can't imagine what that could have been. 2 for the price of 1. And they just start blasting. Now, looking at this perspective, dude, they could have wiped out both Spartan and Edgar easily. Easily. But of course, it's an action movie, so they have to miss every bullet they shoot. Big firefight erupts, and Simon escapes to the surface. He steals a police car, and Spartan gives chase in another car that he finds. Yada yada yada, big action chase scene. They end up on the same police car with each other. They're struggling, nothing really important, until this part happens, where Simon says to Spartan, remember all those hostages that you blew apart trying to catch me? They were already dead, cold as Haagen-Dazs. So it's here we reveal what happened to Spartan. The hostages in that building were all dead. All of those people were already dead. They were cold as hell. That's why they weren't appearing on the thermal cameras. Spartan killed none of them. He was frozen in prison. His wife, his daughter, all gone. His wife died in an earthquake, and his daughter's out here somewhere. But he doesn't want to contact her because he's like, I don't want her to see me as some Neanderthal like the rest of you do. But that's Spartan's story. But yeah, this is the depth of Phoenix's evil. He already killed all the hostages. He was just telling people that he still had the hostages. And because of Spartan's actions, he used that to ruin Spartan's life. Clever, I'd say. Because he's a functioning chaotic evil. He's a functioning chaotic evil. He's not that dude walking naked into the king's chambers. He's doing everything by design. By his design. That's a chaotic evil person. Not these wacky bounce off the walls kind of crazies. That's not chaotic evil. If you're playing your character like that, playing your alignment wrong. Sorry. So, after this chase scene happens, Simon goes back to the warden's building. And he says, okay, Raymond, I think it's time for us to discuss the deed. And Raymond's talking about how he wants his city to be a perfect world, and Simon's like, you can't take away people's right to be assholes. And then he looks at him and says, that's who you remind me of. Evil Mr. Rogers. And he tosses a gun to one of his gang members and says, will you please kill him? He's pissing me off. So he did this because he is programmed to not hurt Raymond. Phoenix can't hurt Raymond. He can't hurt him. So he had him defrost a bunch of guys that can. Like, bro, you didn't see that one coming? Seriously? You didn't program any of these gang members? Not whatever. So, once they get rid of Raymond, they put a little log on the fire. For no reason, by the way. This is like the leader of the city. Simon tells them to burn him in the fireplace for no reason. This serves no purpose other than just for fun. See, chaotic evil people can do something like this so long as it's not detrimental. I mean, even if it is detrimental, so long as they're getting a kick out of it or some kind of advantage, they'll do it. This serves no purpose. They already shot him. They shot him like 5 times. He's dead. So why throw him in the fire? I don't know. Because it's funny. If you want to play a chaotic evil character that does things like this, you have to do them to the point where it's not detrimental to the party or to anybody else. If you can do it, and it has no real negative side effects, and you want to add flavor to your character, this is an example how. The gang already took out Raymond. He's dead. So, what you do? They throw him in the fire. Why? I don't know. Because it's funny. Because it fits the character. That's why. So in the next scene, we're coming up on it. I'm sorry this is long. We're coming up on it. So, Simon is back at the cryo prison, and he's planning on releasing all of the prisoners. 80 some prisoners that don't have rehab programs. Essentially, in this movie, a rehab program, they find out a type of good trait that you have in your subconscious brain, and they give it to you. So, for example, Spartan, inside of his brain, they find out that he's really good at knitting. They find out that his personality disposition is a seamstress. So they give him a bunch of knitting programming to help make him a more peaceful person. So basically, imagine if, say, your subconscious is really good at cooking. They'll program a bunch of recipes in your brain and give you the desire to become a chef. Something like that. I don't know. It's programming. But all the people in here that Phoenix is trying to release have no programming. They haven't gotten to them yet. So these guys are blank slates. So Phoenix could easily do what Raymond did to him and make them all into super soldiers that know all of these mechanics and fighting styles, increased aggression. He could do anything. He could program all these people to be whatever he wants. And he even finds out that Jeffrey Dahmer is here. Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer. He's like, I love that guy. Because of course he does. So, doing that, all the auto programming is finished. He looks at all of the scientists that are down below, and he says, thank you for your service, but you will no longer be required. And he just starts blasting. He says this to all the engineers because they're not needed anymore. So he just kills them. My guess is because he's worried that one of them will be able to stop the process. So he's getting rid of a loose end. That's fair. That's what, to be fair, that's probably what all three evil alignments would do, if you look at it. So, Spartan shows up, big action scene. They fight their way to the main area of the cryo prison here, and Phoenix traps Spartan in this like claw arm thing that's used to hold the ice blocks. He's laughing at him. He's shooting at it with a gun. He's like, how about a little target practice? Struggle for me. Make me work for it. And he's flipping the switch, causing the arm to swing around as he's shooting his gun at him. Bullets are obviously not hitting Spartan because it's an action movie. But he's just toying with him. He's not killing him. He's not doing what he should be. He's doing the stereotypical villain monologue, toy with, don't kill aspect. But as a chaotic evil person, it's very much in flavor. The process for the cryo prison is in the works. All these people are being thought out. No problem. So he's taking the time waiting for the buffer to fill. So he's killing time. Literally, he's killing time. Eventually, Spartan does break free of the claw. Simon's gun runs out of ammo. And Simon goes for one of the ice cutters. It's a type of laser. Now, it's not meant for this kind of use. It's like a little laser beam that's used for cutting the person out of the ice before thawing. So he slams it against a post. He slams it against a post, and it has like this big arc lightning effect, and it's shooting electricity all over the place. It's just causing mass destruction. All because he wants to kill Spartan. It's like, dude, you're trying to unthaw all these people, and you're destroying the place in the process. But again, they're trapped in ice, so maybe all he has to do is fucking wait for them to thaw. I don't know. Simon doesn't care. But this is the thing of chaotic evil. He's throwing complete disregard for everything. We're right back to the start with the burning building. And Simon is causing all of this destruction inside, with him in there and his goals. He doesn't care. His only objective is to kill Spartan. And as he has Spartan on the ropes, he's got him down, beat down. He grabs like this pipe thing, and he looks at him and he says, "This is the best day of my life." That face right there, he's finally broken his composure. He's finally mad. He's looking at Spartan with this intense urge in his eyes. And he says, "This is the best day of my life." He's reveling in all of it. He was given all these superhuman powers. He was brought to a future run by pussies, so they're easily controllable. They're easily taken over by force. He's able to kill the only guy that could have stopped him. And he's releasing a huge number of criminals to take over an entire city. Obviously, it is his best day. This guy was given everything. So, who is Simon Phoenix? And why does he represent the chaotic evil aspect? Throughout all of this, what have we learned? Chaotic evil has no regard for others. Simon dressed the way he wants, acts the way he wants, says whatever he wants. He doesn't care about anybody or anything because he knows if someone has a problem, he's going to put them down. Because he knows he's able to. He knows that the police force doesn't have guns. He knows that the populace are a bunch of pussies now. Nobody has any balls. So he is the top dog. He knows it. And that kind of power in the hands of a chaotic evil person is extremely dangerous. Because, like you saw with so many things, he used everybody he came across. He used Raymond to defrost the guys that killed him. He got himself some supporters, a gang. He used people in breaking open glass doors just to get at guns. He's throwing his power around because he knows nobody can stop him. Now, is this a smart thing to do? No. It gets attention. It tells the police where you are. All they have to do is follow the chaos. There's a couple times where he's subtle and he goes underground to hide away, but that's just to recuperate himself and find a base. Things like that. So that way he's got somewhere to hunker down. But when it comes to being chaotic evil, if you want to do the alignment correctly, you have to be a functioning chaotic evil. You can't just do whatever you want willy-nilly, and then when things don't go the way you want, you blame the DM or you blame whoever. If you want your character done correctly, they have to be able to function within the parameters. So, here's a good way to separate lawful evil and neutral evil from chaotic evil. Just do what Simon did. If you're walking around an area and everybody is dressed the same and you're a wanted criminal, the smart thing to do is to dress the same as them and hide. Phoenix doesn't, because he knows he has the power and the skill to stop anybody that comes across him. So, he has no incentive to hide. Well, you could say hiding would mean that you're not risking any injuries or any potential fights. Risking anything is bad, because you never know what could happen. So hiding away would be the smart idea. Phoenix doesn't care. He has no regard for things like that. He has no regard for his own safety. He has no regard for if the police are after him or finding him. He has no regard for the attention it would grab. He could literally be all over the world news for all he knows. And he doesn't care. That's what makes a chaotic evil character chaotic. That's what makes them evil. That's what makes them what they are. That lack of giving a shit. But not to the point where it's detrimental to everyone else. That's the trigger or the key to playing with other people. If you're playing chaotic evil, you have to remember you're playing with other people. You're playing D&D with other people. You're playing other games with other people. If you want to be an evil character like that, it's a really tricky line to walk. You have to come at it with an I don't care aspect. So for example, if you think being chaotic evil means being a murder hobo, that's incorrect. When Simon was at the computer and he was being talked down to by the cops, he didn't just go up and start killing them. He basically told them off and said, "Go fuck yourselves." And he turned around and went back to work. He doesn't care. That doesn't mean he's a bloodthirsty wild man. That's not what chaotic evil is. Chaotic evil is much more open than the other two. But they're still functioning. They still plan. They still scheme. They're smart. It's just they don't have a reason to hide. They are perfectly fine doing things by force rather than subtly. That's what this is. So, I hope this gave you a good insight into chaotic evil. I'm sorry for this being so long. I had a lot to talk about. This is an awesome movie. You should watch it. It's called Demolition Man. And I feel like I could have done a better job with this. But, So, the next two videos are going to be about alignment switching alignments, and how that can be done. And then figuring out your own alignments and whatnot. And as far as I'm aware, that'll be the end of the series. So, I mean, if I figure out more to add later, I'll add more later. But for now, here it is. I hope you enjoyed this, everyone. Tell your story, my friend.